This video is brought to you by HalloCasa. Our tool transforms independent local real estate agents to global real estate agents. Create your own profile for free and get contacted by international investors. Sign up with the link in the description. Hello and welcome everyone to our 174th session of HalloCasa. My name is Michael and today I'm talking to Amy Chorew from Bloomfield in Connecticut in the USA. Amy is a seasoned strategist, speaker, and educator who has been shaping the real estate industry for decades. Through a company called Curated Learning, she helps real estate organizations create powerful training programs, seamless onboarding experiences, and scalable growth strategies, blending technology, automation, and AI to future-proof teams. In this conversation, Amy shares insights on where real estate training is headed, how to drive agent adoption in an AI-driven world, and why aligning learning with strategy is key in today's market. Amy, I'm pumped to have you on the show. You are a huge authority in the real estate world, especially in the US, having worked for so many institutions. But why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Michael, I think you did a great job. I have been in real estate since college. I met my builder husband in college and moved to Connecticut, where he built over 12 subdivisions. So I can literally drive around central Connecticut and go, we built that street, we refabbed that factory, we built that luxury home. So new construction was the beginning of my real estate career, but I got bored after doing 12 subdivisions. That was about 10 years. And I went back to school to learn how to write curriculum because I had a hard time going to classes where people had an idea, but they didn't know how to actually deliver the content properly. So I was always in classes where I was like shaking my head. So I went back and learned about instructional design and adult learning theory. And then I just started writing courses with those principles and it blew up. I'm dating myself a little bit, but in 2009, NAR asked myself and a couple of business partners to rewrite ePro, which was one of their only tech certifications, which we did. And so in 2009, I hit the main screen, I guess, if you could call it, and was getting recruited by a ton of places. And at the time, a wonderful woman named Sherry Chris was starting a brand called Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. And I actually joined her to help her launch that brand. And I had never had a paycheck in my life, Michael. I had been an entrepreneur. It was weird. I actually got money every 2 weeks. But what was great was being an entrepreneur in a very institutional Fortune 500 company. I ended up getting a lot done and being able to apply those to my learning that I created there, and we launched a lot of tech products. So I'm out on my own again, writing curriculum, and I'm glad to be here.
I have been striving to become an entrepreneur and getting my own money by myself and not having the monthly paycheck. How do they say? They say there's one of the most addictive things. It's like, I don't know, there's something and a monthly paycheck. So getting rid of it is definitely something which I look up to be honest. Maybe also just because I haven't achieved it. So you're always striving for something which you don't have, sort of pedestalizing. But let me maybe ask you the first question, which I think is also foundational for our conversation today, regarding the concepts and the methodology of these learning approaches. Can you say that again? What is basically the differentiator? Because it's a thread throughout your entire career, as you mentioned, which brings us also to the topic of learning of today's session.
Okay, thank you. One of the things that when I went back to school, I learned about adult learning theory. You teach adults different than how you learned in your elementary or even in your college. It's a little different. Adults learn with what we call learning styles. And it's not what you've probably heard before, like visual, auditory, kinesthetic. It's not that. Adults, there's 4 types of learning styles, and I'll share them with you. But what I started doing was applying making sure I was speaking to every one of the learning styles, and I would do it in segments so they could learn. So all of my training is written in 15 or 20-minute modules because adults can absorb 20 minutes before they have to kind of disengage. So it's the 4 learning styles, and then making sure that my content can be done in 20-minute modules so adults can take a minute, let their mind go, try to process. So those were really my secret sauce. What's interesting, I still run into people now who took a class in 2012 or 2015 and said, I still have your materials. I'm like, why? It's because it was understandable. So that's my principle. I can tell you more if you want, but that's the basics.
Yes, I want to learn more, to be honest. So, is that the only secret sauce to say we make these breaks, or what else does it entail? Because I'm not aware of that, and I think many people haven't. And if it's so successful, maybe we should create more awareness of that. So, give us like more meat to the bone regarding this approach.
Okay. So when I write content, I'm applying the 4 learning styles to everything I teach. So what are those? The first is why. Some adult learners, if they know the why about why they're learning something, they are all in listening. Some people want to know the what. These students are the ones that will take copious notes. If you mix paragraph 3 on page 4, they're like, you missed the paragraph. They will write notes, write notes. That's how they absorb. They need the what, but they'll never look at those notes again. But that's how they learn. Why? What? But the true learning happens between the what and the how. So the first 2 learners, it's instructor led. They want to listen to the instructor. Why are you teaching me this? Give me the data. Let me get it. But the next group, the other 2 learning styles, the transfer of knowledge really happens between the what and the how. So then there's students in the classroom like, oh my God, okay, already. Show me how to use this. How do I bring it into my business? Give me experiential information. Those students love to role play. They love to do breakouts to really see, okay, I've gotten this information. How do I make it relevant to my business? That's where real learning happens. Those students, though, you have to keep in check because you have to go through the other 2 before you get there. A lot of times people want to go right to the how, but if they haven't the foundation, they're not going to get there. Now, if the last group, and they're lovely people to work with, they are, but now they are in student led. They want to be on panels. They want to raise their hands and ask questions. The last group is what we call the what if. So they've learned everything, but now for them to process, they have to come up with scenarios to see if it works for them. And sometimes they are way off base. They'll come, and those people are the people I'll have to say in the class, you know what? I'm going to take this offline with you because they're going down some rabbit hole that makes sense to them, but no one else in the classroom. So that's the first thing. So the 20-minute thing is there's a gentleman out there in learning. He's iconic. His name is Bob Pike. He says that when you're talking to adults, 90 minutes is like the max of a session. They can't stand any more than that. In that 90-minute section, you have to break your learning into 20-minute modules. And what I do in every 20-minute module, I cover the why, the what, the how, and the what if. Now, the why is maybe 3 to 5 minutes, nothing. But some instructors out there spend so much time on the why, that other group, the how, they're losing their brain. They're losing their mind like, oh my God, stop already. Just get into the information. 5 minutes on the why. The what, it depends. So with technology training, you have to give people information, especially with AI. You have to make them understand the thesis behind it, the theory. You have to explain to them how to access these sites and how to write the prompts. So there's a lot of what, right, in AI training. But the real transfer of knowledge is when someone raises their hand, I go, okay, let's try you. So I have a class that is actually out there now. It's how to write a value proposition with AI. So in the class, we'll have a student will analyze what they're looking, who their client is, and then we'll literally walk them through so they can come up with how to articulate who they are, what kind of real estate they sell, and how to engage with the consumer. But that's that how. See the difference? So I'm going to stop because I want to make sure you have time to ask questions.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. I went in university through a concept which I love to do, which was problem-based learning. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
And there we were always forced to prepare every session as if we are the tutor, as if we have to present, forcing us to, let's say, become a teacher. Do you have a strong stance there to say, regarding the assumption and the statement, the best learners are the ones who learn as if they would have to tutor or to teach?
I think that's very important. Thanks for your comment. If you don't understand the concept, and you can't teach, if you don't understand it enough to teach it, like you just said, it's not valuable. One of the things that also got me into education is when I was at my company, we had this tool where I could look at people's productivity from across the country. So someone would be on stage and talking, and it's like wasn't making sense to me. And then I would go back and see that they weren't a very productive agent. So for me, you have to live what you teach. So I only teach things from my experience, and I think that's even more powerful. I mean, there are people who go out there and will look at a curriculum and teach it, that they've never experienced it. And that's dangerous to me.
Throughout the entire career, you, as I mentioned before, you have been in so many positions, and now you are, you're an advisor. You call yourself an advisor regarding Upfront. Give us an overview there.
Just quickly on Upfront, I will share them. That is just a company that I advise on. It's a tech startup. One of the things that I learned when I was at my corporate job is how to bring a product to market. There's a lot of tech products out there. And I do mentoring for these companies, and because they don't understand the real estate industry, they don't understand the craziness that we are as realtors. They try to bring products to market, and it's not connecting with the real estate agents. That's one of my strengths. So I'm an advisor for a company called Upfront. This company is simplifying the e-commission piece, and they're doing other things as well. They're working with brokers, and they use AI and other tools, and they make sure an agent who's consistent, who might want to get money up front on a transaction, it's automated, and they work with the broker, and it's a beautiful process. So I love their technology, and I think they're doing a great service. And I've known the founders of that forever. So what they do is they just pick my brain on things that they're doing, and I tell them what I think. So that's my advisory role there.
Regarding the curated learning, that's like your main baby at the moment. Give us an overview there, because you have so many, let's say, pillars there which you are tackling, and give us an overview there.
Okay. So what I'm doing there is I am and have created a couple of courses that are launching now. And these courses are on demand in those 20-minute modules I told you. So they're 3 to 4 hour classes where there's audio, video, and it's done in that adult learning. So people can go in and take an hour of the training, or they can go in and take 20 minutes and they can walk away. Okay, hey, I've got something new. Those curriculums we not only do as on demand, but we also do live sessions either monthly or every other month to connect with the students if they want to. One of the things that we're also doing is building community, like you're doing, which I love what you're doing at your company with building the community. And we're trying to keep it focused on the topics that we're covering. So people come in and ask questions. It's kind of like a thread, and then other people can respond or interact. So that's what we're doing with the courses. And the courses that we're doing right now are the AI course. We have the one on value prop. We also have one that's just a very basic how to get things done, because a lot of people see everything out there and we're just teaching them the thesis behind it, how to write a prompt, what that looks like. The other program is, do you want me to keep on going? I'll just tell you about the other. Okay. The other program is launching as well, and it's called Fiscal Fitness. The reason we wrote that program is based on my experience. About 15 years ago, my sister, who is a CPA, said to me, because I'm an entrepreneur, right? Can you retire? And I'm like, yeah, I own a couple buildings. I'm good. And she did her eye roll that an older sister does. And she says, this is what I want you to do. Ask your tax guy, your accountant, to give you a name of financial planners that are actually making income for their people, like 25% return on your money. So if you have $100,000 invested with them that year, if it's a good year, they're going to make you 25,000. So I did. I was kind of embarrassed because at that time I owned quite a bit of real estate, but I only had maybe 125,000 cash. And that's not a lot. So when I went to him, he was so kind and he helped me figure out how to retire. So today I can retire, which is amazing. Most real estate agents don't understand how you have to set things up, start saving. And the reason I'm telling my story is I didn't start when I was 35. I started when I was at 50, right? So now you know how old I am. But that's when I started. So you don't have to, even if you haven't done it yet, we want agents to start. So the course starts with mindset, an entrepreneur mindset. And then we talk about what kind of business plan they need to. So what we did was we created this form that if the agent fills out, they can bring to a financial planner, and that financial planner can give them a pathway to. So it could be real estate, it could be investment items that a financial planner does. It could be all those things to create passive income when you retire, so you don't have to just rely on Social Security. So, because who knows what's going to happen with that in the United States anyway.
Sounds very util. Sounds very interesting to have that one, because on the one hand, I guess as a real estate agent, you're always like on your grind. You're always hustling. You're always like in the trenches.
Yeah.
But then you just like say, I neglect that a little bit. It's not my field of expertise. Then maybe subconsciously creating some anxiety because, you might attract what you don't look at, or the other way around. And then in the end, like it builds up, and you're just basically not doing the elements which have the biggest lever and the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And you're trying to micromanage and trying to run after elements and basically maybe not even managing yourself anymore, but being managed. What is the format of your courses? Is it online? Is it in person? Is it with certain modules? How can I imagine that in a very specific way?
Thanks for your question again. Couple different formats. The course itself is put online in a learning management system in those modules. So each course that I have, people can go in, they download a fillable PDF, and then they go listen to a module. They'll either hear me speaking like this, or I'll be voiceover on slides. They will have a worksheet. They'll click through and read, and they're doing work as they go. So that's the way we put the course together. On top of that, some clients say, oh, we need you in person. So we will teach it digitally over Zoom, and that has worked very well. And then we do, to gain people's interest about the class, we do 45-minute free sessions to kind of get people excited. And we also have started to be asked to do more of the CE. I don't know if you have that where you are, but every agent in the US has a certain amount of hours they have to accomplish every 2 years in education to keep their license. So it's not, it's an interesting way to get in front of people. People many times just want to have to sit through these classes so they can keep their license, but we do that as well.
How can people reach out regarding this learning experience regarding the AI courses and also the CPA? Is it two different links, two different websites, or is it one combined one?
The best way is to visit my website and send me an email, which is amychorew.com. But we also have a Slack group where we're doing learning, especially on the finance class. And I can give you the QR code for people to sign up. It's been a very fun group. It's small. We're only going to have about 150 people in there. And it's great because people are feeling comfortable talking about their financial history, and we're giving them great information because I have a CPA in there. So I'll give you those two, if that's okay.
Absolutely perfect. Now let's talk real estate. You have gone through so many technology and industry and regulatory changes during those decades. First and foremost, it's definitely a challenge, I assume, to really all the time keep up. It's always anyways a challenge. We had just a pandemic. Now we have AI. Before we had the general digitalization. Give us maybe there like the next steps and your vision where real estate is going. Because we know what's happened during the past, from banners on the street, which are still being used, to now fully fledged AI conversational agents with a huge possibility of scaling. Where do you think, because you're also on the forefront of AI there, where do you think are we heading?
Michael, again, thanks for your question. Being in the industry since mid-80s, seen a lot of change. Certain things still ring true. It's a relationship business, and staying connected with people is critical because this is one of the biggest transactions people will ever do. That's number one. Number two, people need to know who you are, what kind of real estate you sell, how to get in touch with you, but they need to understand your persona. It used to be that the only way you would meet with people was over a cup of coffee, but you can do a post on Instagram and talk about what you are, who you are, and it could be a video or not. And now 10 or 20 people saw it, and that's like having coffee with 10 to 20 people. You don't need 1 million followers. So real estate professionals who are leveraging social media properly is very important, but it still comes down to that personal. Now we have AI. And I think this is what you were looking for. Am I kind of okay?
Up to you. If you say no AI, forget
No,
it.
no,
Let's do
no,
crypto.
no.
Okay.
So I am an avid follower of what's going on. And I mean, as of past week, you could create a video in ChatGPT that actually has the voices, the faces, with like very little input. I watched some of these videos. I was blown away. It's not like the ones that look like talking. I mean, it's like real, like crazy. So there's a lot going on. Real estate agents don't have to be afraid of it, but they have to start using it. I don't care how they start, they have to just use one of what we call the ILMs. It could be the Gemini in Google, it could be Pilot in Microsoft, it could be ChatGPT, and there's others out there. There's Grok, which is social. There's many. And I'd be glad to send you some information if you want to give some people some prompts. But they have to start using one of the tools and at least start talking about what's going on with their industry, their market, and how to communicate to people who they are. That was what I would do first. One of the things I'm seeing that agents are doing, which is scary, is they're letting AI write things and then they don't read it. And there's a lot of violations. There's fair housing violations. There is many things that are wrong because AI is only taking what's out there. So we're constantly training it. I would say talk to their associations, talk to their brokers, and see what kind of tools people are doing. So, for example, many companies are starting to create their own GPTs. what is that? Well, it's a prompt, and that prompt can be done either with a chatbot or they can do it on a web page. And that prompt helps the agent understand what their company offers or how to use some of the tech tools that the company has. So I love that application of AI at a real estate company. And it's so easy for a company. So I'll give you an example. A company I know, they have amazing marketing tools for their agents. So, and the agents, they created this GPT that helps the agent put all the information about their listing in and create all the content they need. It also shares with them how to apply it to all the different things the company does. Now, that being said, there are amazing tech companies out there that brokers are always leveraging. You don't always have to do it yourself, but you can tell I get excited, so I'll be quiet, but that's kind of where I see it going.
That's a keyword to me, to be honest. And I maybe you don't like my question, but I want to pose it to you. I see myself as still, let's say, a tech enthusiast and always used to be at the forefront. And with AI, it was the first moment in my life, career-wise, that I was feeling fear. How do you ensure yourself, and you're a bit older than me, that you're not just like putting your head in the sand and say like, screw it, it's over. I can't, like, cognitively, it's too much, whatever it is, I just don't and follow. It's too much of a maze. And you are maybe different than many other people. And I asked the question because if it's even me, not like that I'm a huge technologist, but I know a bit. Now imagine someone in your age or 5 and 10 years older and saying like, listen, I can't, like, I don't want, I'm afraid. And I think it's the same feeling as when you're talking to a real estate agent and talking about their retirement and their CPA. So on a common denominator and subconsciously, we're actually going to a unifying threat and problem you're addressing, which is potentially even overcoming limiting beliefs and a fearful approach. How do you make sure that you are there and facing the dragon and say, no, 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 wait, I'm going to fight you. I want to know. What do you think is there, your secret sauce regarding your entire mindset?
I love this question. And I need to tell you a story, which I think will help you understand where I'm coming from. When I was just getting into the internet, I knew that social media was going to take over and it was all the craziness. I was at an Inman event. Inman is a conference that happens in New York. Now they're all over the country. And at that time, do you ever heard the site Craigslist? Have you ever heard of Craigslist? Craig Newmark, this was probably 15 years ago, was on stage talking. And afterwards, the speakers had these little tables that you could go and talk to them. So I went up to him and I was saying all my fears about social media and everything, and some real problems. We were dealing with some real problems. And he said to me, and I'll never forget this, he goes, Amy, he goes, everything, because of we're on the web now, on the internet, everything's global, which is what your site's doing. Everything will level itself out, will even itself out. You just have to be patient, take some deep breaths, and wait for it to work out. And if you really want to be in here, you have to stay educated. And that really rang with me. And so things that were like, everyone was like, ew, this is bad, this is bad. All of a sudden, everyone figured out. So I'll give you an example with AI. It's like, oh my God, they're stealing all their stuff. It's evil. Certain of the tools out there have signed there's an agreement that the US government has that these companies are supposed to stay above board and not allow some of the anti-aggressive or just evil conversations that come out of them. So, for example, ChatGPT has signed it, Gemini has signed it, certain ones haven't, like Grok has not signed it. Those companies want to stay within the confines of being ethical and responsible. So for me, that was like, oh, okay. But if you just stay out of this world, you're not going to see it. So what I would recommend is get on the email list for that's in the real estate. But there are some great AI news groups and news lists out there. Start with the real estate, and then that will lead you to some of the things I get and read every week. And then you can stay on top of it. If you feel uncomfortable with this stuff, hire somebody. There are tons of people, and this is what I would recommend. Go to a college, and this is how I started. I went to a local college where they have internships. So I went and got a marketing person in the AI field, and there's this 20-year-old who needs to do like 200 hours of work to get his degree, right? This is part of what they do. Imagine a 20-year-old that's nice to you. It's amazing. So would bring this person in, and you don't even have to pay them, but we did. So here's a kid who's coming in for $15 an hour, like just, minimum wage, 10 hours a week. He'll work with a couple of different agents. He walks out with $150, which is like, what? Like, how much beer can you buy for $150, right? But yet we learned from somebody who actually is like on the cutting edge at college. So there are ways around it. And we're never going to know it all. I mean, it's scary what's going on. You see what's going on with OpenAI and these companies, and it's mind-boggling. But unfortunately, it's here. I think the thing that scares me the most is the deep fakes and all of that stuff. So again, I'm going back to what Craig Newmark said to me. It's going to level out. It's going to get to a point where I was like, they're going to say we have to do something, and then things will get fixed. I do have faith in that process. There I am.
A tip towards a real estate agent on an operational level. If you say, let's say, we have all the technologies, not necessarily only AI whatsoever. How do you think, with all your experience here, a real estate agents should operate or respectively implement certain tools or processes in order to not lose focus? Because there might be two things a real estate agent is interested in: leads, serving the leads, getting inventory, and making it as time efficient as possible. So along maybe these elements, do you think that you see a pattern of real estate agents doing, the unsuccessful ones or the not yet successful ones, doing something, overseeing something, and maybe doing wrong things, where you would say, listen, focus on these elements, make sure that you have them right, and maybe use XYZ tools for these processes?
Okay. So at least I'm going to say that anybody who gets into real estate, training is key, because you are in sales. Sales is a unique world where it's getting leads and follow up on the leads, and then being able to communicate your value and then delivering in the process. So the training, which most of us have had, is the process of marketing, listings, working with buyers, all the forms, all of that stuff. And that's changed recently because of some of the lawsuits in the US. So making sure that you have all of that done. For me, I would rather have an appointment and not have any of my materials done and be able to call my manager and say, hey, I have a listing appointment. Many people get into and want to get everything perfected before they actually pick up the phone and start calling. For me, the lead gen that you're talking about is once you know how to do stuff, at the same time, you should be prospecting, marketing. And if you get a great lead and you're not ready, someone in your office is going to help you do that. I prefer that to have everything ready and then being afraid to do the phone calls or however you're doing the social media. Tracking all of that and staying in touch with people and knowing what kind of business you're going to go after is key. So there's amazing coaches out there, but what I've learned is that you have to stay focused on certain parts of business. So for me, I have a geographical farm I market the crap out of, and I get a lot of great business on. But I also work with investors because I own investment properties. I work with first-time home buyers. And just because that's where I am in my career, that's what I focus on. I don't try to do everything else. So I think it's focusing. And then on top of that is having some kind of system where you can follow up on your leads. We call them CRMs to track. And then great websites. So like a site like yours, having like a single listing website or something that you can send to someone so they can know who you are, what kind of real estate you sell. And we are getting more global. So I think your site is important as we go forward. But then, so the CRM, and then if you're going to use the AI, learn how to write the prompts and then figure out the tools that you're going to use. And what we're seeing mostly with the AI is people are doing, using Canva a lot, which is a tool where they can use AI to create marketing pieces. And then some kind of recording tool like Otter, where you can record your conversations, or Fathom, and then they can kind of give you summaries so you don't have to actually take notes. So those would be the two things I'd start. But prospecting, having a business plan, sticking to it, knowing what you need to do to accomplish your goals, and doing it with the things that I just mentioned. But this is basic 101, really. So I think I'm just speaking to the choir. To me, okay. Okay.
Amy, thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything you would like to share with us which we haven't touched upon? Because I know your time is limited and also very valuable.
One of my mentors once said to me, her words were always so powerful to me. And I said, why are your words so powerful? She goes, because I've lived everything that I'm sharing. If you need to get going in your business more, find a coach, pay the money, but make sure you get the right person to get you to be where you need to be. And if you need someone to help you with some of this training and tools, always start with your brokerage, find out what assets they have for you, but just don't try to do it on your own. The world's and real estate's changing too fast. Invest in yourself.
Perfect. Amy, thank you so much for your time. I will put the details you shared before into the show notes, and okay. I'm happy to share any other contact information in the show notes. I'm sending the best regards to Connecticut, and I'm wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. This video is brought to you by HalloCasa. Our tool transforms independent local real estate agents to global real estate agents. Create your own profile for free and get contacted by international investors. Sign up with the link in the description.